All right. All right, we're going to be beginning in a couple minutes. We still have a little bit more time. And I hope everybody is having a fantastic Tuesday. Great start to March. It's always nice when February gets over. March is almost here. We're almost springtime. You can go outdoors a little more, especially you guys out east, if you're watching from out east. So as we kind of like, I'll give a little housekeeping, I guess you want to say. Tonight I've got, hello everybody. I've got Jen Walker, who's a registered dietitian. She's going to be answering the chat while the talk goes on. I find if I look at the chat, I get distracted, and I want to make sure I can go through this. We will have questions at the end as well, question and answers. So that's going to be there too if you do have something you'd like to ask me. But feel free to ask whatever questions you want as the chat goes on. Jen is amazing, and I'm really grateful for her to be here tonight with me. So thank you, Jen. And since I'm here, I'm saying thank you. I might as well thank all of you for taking the time to be here with me today. I super appreciate it. I'm really excited. This is one of my favorite webinars I love to give. And I also really want to thank Healthy Planet for this opportunity to speak to you all and inviting me. So it's awesome that I get a chance to speak to you. So I've got about 4 o'clock on the dot. So I'm going to get started at winning at weight loss. So here we go. Who am I? You might be wondering that. My name is Aeryon Ashlie. I'm the founder and CEO of Aeryon Wellness. I'm a registered holistic nutritional counselor, an ISSA trainer, and an eating disorder recovery coach. I've been in the supplement industry, health and wellness, way longer, but supplements for about 18 years now across Canada. In 2020, I was voted a top 100 health and wellness influencer. I have a #1 book on Amazon called Bulimia to Balance, which you'll kind of understand a little bit of that in a minute. I have 4 cookbooks with my daughter, and I'm also the wellness expert out here on Pulse 107.7. But the most prized job to date is my daughter, Michaela, and she is really the catalyst behind my why and why I really started embarking more of a holistic wellness journey when it comes to weight loss, hormones, and all of that. So I'm going to share a little bit with you in the future. So the first thing I want to kind of check is, I'm sure everybody knows what the word diet is. You know, somebody who's been on a diet, maybe heard it in passing, had a friend who was on a diet, you've been on a diet. So we all kind of know what the word diet is, right? We're all in on that one. And I think all of us can kind of resonate with this photo here. This would be me at 11:59 and my diet starts at midnight, or me if I had one cookie too much and I fell way off on the other end. And I think we all have felt what Charlene is feeling here when things just aren't working for us when we're trying to lose weight, right? Fed up with how her diet is going, Charlene takes a more serious aim at her weight. So just to give you a little bit of history about who I am with dieting and how this all plays out for me and why this topic is so important to me, as Buzz and Woody say, we're going to go back to the very beginning. So at 12 years old, I started my very first diet. My mother would bring shakes to school at lunch because I was really struggling with my weight. At 13 years old, the picture on the left, my parents put me into Weight Watchers. And as I sat in that meeting with all those 30-year-old women, I realized I was too much and not enough at the same time. And that's something I really kept with me for many, many years, that story, right? The picture on the right is when I was about 15, 16 years old. And that's when I was already really into my eating disorder, bulimia and anorexia. Also too, the picture on the left when I was 13, 14, my parents put me on the birth control, which also led to a whole plethora of hormonal imbalancing issues in the future. In my 20s, I discovered fitness competitions, and I kind of call them more glorified eating disorders. I was able to really hide my eating disorder within fitness competitions. However, what would happen is when the show ended, or when the diet ended, I would fall back into my bulimic tendencies. So the picture in the center would probably be about 6 months after the show. So I did show after show after show for over 13 years. One of the last shows I competed in was the Arnold Classic here on the left. The picture on the right is about 3 to 4 months later. So although you might not have done fitness shows, although you might not have struggled with eating disorders, I think what we all can really resonate with is this on again, off again relationship, right? With food and with dieting. We're either on that wagon and we're going hard, or we're right off, like that picture with that lady with all the snacks and goodies. Shortly after the picture on the right, I had another episode, binging and purging. And I was in the bathroom on my knees in front of the toilet, and there was a knock at the door. It was really my aha moment, which really put the catalyst in change for me to make a difference in my life. And on the other side of the door was my 3-year-old daughter. And I'd almost been caught many times before, but as I rose up and I caught my reflection in the mirror, I realized in that minute that if I didn't get a hold of this, that if I didn't figure this out, that this would be her. And I wasn't willing to let that happen. And that really became my why. And that why has carried me through to start my own brand and also really look at how I can support women and empower them with holistic health. And so I had to get in that moment sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was so exhausted of trying to hit this number or be this size. I was so done with it. I just wanted to feel really good and to be healthy and to lead that example to her. So I began to look at more of a holistic approach of things. I began to think of all the women I'd worked with and all the men too throughout the years as a trainer. And it's the same thing. They'd come and work with me for a bit and then they'd go off and then they'd come back several months later. We'd have a wedding, we'd have summer was coming, all these different goals, and then they'd peter off and fall off. And I really wanted to figure out, how do we have sustainable health and wellness? How do we have sustainable weight loss, right? So this is kind of where this really topic is dear to me, because I feel I've really been able to step into that place. And so what that really comes down with is it's not just the food we eat. It's not just working out. It is the thoughts we think and the friends we keep as well. The thoughts we think, the friends we keep, the food we eat, the movement we put our bodies through every day. And then of course, supplementation. So really looking at this as a holistic aspect, a holistic way of living. And that's what really our conversation is about today, is how do we apply all of these different tools to win at weight loss? So we're going to be looking at mindset, hormones, nutrition, movement, supplementation, and then I have some bonus tips at the end, because there's more stuff I could probably even talk about when it comes to this, but I had to try to narrow it down. So the first thing we're going to step into is mindset. So we either have a fixed or a growth mindset. So your mindset is a collection of thoughts and beliefs that shape your habits. And this is really important to understand. One of the things I really had to work on when I was working through my eating disorder was cognitive behavioral therapy, and how important this is to my end result and what I have going on in my life in every facet. So cognitive behavioral therapy is thoughts create feelings and create actions or non-actions. Right? So the thoughts we think affect how we feel and affect what we do. So I'm going to ask everybody, we're going to open the chat. I want to see the chat so I can see this part. Let me just move this over. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that one. Okay. All right. So the next slide. Now, what I'd like everybody to do, and I'd welcome you to share. It's kind of cool if we can all share what we're going through, but I'd like you to think of a negative thought or story that plays in your mind. For me, for years, it was, I'm a big bone girl, which whoever made that up, for one thing, but I'm a big bone girl. I'm always going to be big. It's my genetics. That was always my kind of tape. I'm not enough, right? I always had this stuff. So let's really think of something. Is there a negative thought that plays in your mind? And if you'd like to, I'd love to have you share that with us today, or you can just write that down and just so you have that for yourself. So I'll just give you a second. You guys can think about that. If there's a negative thought or story that plays in your head. Yes, it's hereditary. Yes, my sister is. Yes. What is the big bone thing? There's a big boned. Yeah, I had that forever. Yeah, too muscular. Yeah, no time to exercise. I hear that. Yeah, and the heart. Yes, the bigger I am, the harder it is to find a partner. I totally hear that too, for sure. Thick, husky. Yes, PCOS. I understand that one too. I have a big butt. Big booties are good though. I've always wanted a booty. I'm squatting to get a booty. Okay, I get that. That's awesome. Okay, thank you. Yes, media is always portraying those. Body to carry babies, yes. Okay, now, please keep sharing if you'd like to keep sharing. What has this blocked you from doing? So what has this thought stopped you from doing? For with me, big boned, it's in my genetics. It just always led me to believe I wasn't strong. I wasn't power. I couldn't do it. Right? I just couldn't do it. Right? It was just like, what's the point? Right? So you really kind of fall into that. I'm not enough. And that really is, I'll never be enough. Never skinny enough compared to my sister. Yeah. So what do you think it's blocked you from doing? Big stomach runs the family. Wearing, oh, there you go. Wearing fitted clothes. Yeah. Holding back in your career development, living my life, being intimate with my partner. I can totally resonate with that. Exactly. Yeah. So all these things that just this thought has held us back from doing, right? Has held us in a place of not being able to go forward with ourselves and be happy, right? To love. Yeah. Now wear certain clothes. Yeah. Just judging, right? I really understand that. Okay. Now what I'd like you to do is what is the counter thought to that? So with me, if it's, I'm big boned, I am powerful. I am strong. Right? So that counter thought is, or if I'm not enough, I am enough. I am glorious in myself. I am good. So what is that counter thought that really that you can actually use against that negative story that plays in your head, right? Because when we change our language, we change our thoughts, right? Exactly. I'm strong and healthy. I'm beautiful. Yeah. My parents used to restrict with me on food too. I totally understand that, Bev. Yeah. I am beautiful. Yes, they are able to create and hug and hold hands, right? So I am big boned. I am strong. It's in my family genes. I control my destiny, right? I am so fat. I love and appreciate my body. These are things I used to take care of, say by myself. If I could just lose 10 pounds, right? That elusive 10 pounds. The scale does not determine my happiness, neither does a size. I currently don't weigh myself. Larger bones are good because you're less prone to break them. I love that, Elizabeth. That's awesome. Yes, big bones are good. I'm not going to break when I get old, especially when I get older too. I'm so tired. I am vibrant and I am energetic. So really looking at how we can shift that. And one of the reasons this is so important, and especially when it comes to even not only how we feel about ourselves, but every thought releases brain chemicals. So being focused on negative thoughts, it actually zaps our brain of its powerful forcefulness. It slows it down and actually can dim our brain's ability to function and create depression. I think it's very easy. We've all been there. We have those tail spinning days where we just can't seem to get ourselves out of the funk, right? But on the flip side, if we are thinking positive, happy, hopeful, optimistic, joyful thoughts, it decreases cortisol, the stress hormone. We're going to be talking about that in the next section, and produces serotonin. Right? So that alone, just that action, because raised elevated levels of cortisol can actually impact you from wanting your body letting go of body weight. So just this simple thought of thinking that. So one of the things I really had to do in the very beginning of my journey was really work on my thoughts, because it's so easy to tailspin, right? So this next week coming up, and if you can keep it going longer, it's like a muscle. We have to kind of work it all the time, like our biceps, if we're trying to work out. We have to really learn to catch ourselves and change our state and think of different thoughts, right? And those thoughts are going to help reduce those cortisol levels increase your serotonin. Whether or not you have to have sticky notes all over the place to remind yourself, that's something else that I've done in the past as well. So this really brings us to our next section, which is hormones. Talked about cortisol and serotonin there for a second. So hormones are your body's chemical messengers, and they travel through the bloodstream to your organs. They work slowly over time, but they also affect everything in your body, from growth, development, stress, sexual health, and metabolism. Now, when we look at weight gain with hormones, the top hormone imbalancing where you hold most of your weight would be your arm fat, chest fat, belly fat, hips, butts, and thighs, and love handles as well. All right, so we're going to look into the first hormone we're going to talk about tonight is insulin. It's one of the most important ones when it comes to weight loss. So insulin is a hormone that's created by your pancreas, and it controls the amount of glucose in your bloodstream at any given minute. So it helps store glucose in your liver, your fat, and your muscles, and regulates your body's metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So when you eat carbohydrates, right, your carbs change that to carbs change into sugar, into glucose, and enters the blood system. Then your pancreas is like, hey, oh my goodness, we got some blood sugar in the body, and it produces insulin. That insulin then takes the sugar and helps it enter the cell to use for energy. Okay, if that makes sense. Now, insulin resistance is when we have an over excessive amount of glucose, right? A lot of simple sugars in our diet. It reduces the cell's ability to absorb all that blood sugar for energy, and it is then stored as fat. So some of the solutions, so we can go through here, but the symptoms you might have, if you think you could be struggling with insulin resistance, is you're hangry. You're just always hungry, right? And you find you crash after meals, like you eat a meal and you just can't seem to think straight. That can be a signal that your insulin is out of balance. So some of the things you can do, which this is interesting, but eat fewer meals. I know we've been preached at to 6 small meals a day. But unless you're an athlete and you're using all that glucose, what that can actually end up doing is it ends up spiking your insulin continuously throughout the day. And by having 3 main meals and resisting grazing, insulin's going to go up and then it's going to go down, right? So instead of having it spiking over and over again, that's one solution you can do. Another one, and you're going to hear this a lot in this talk, is protein with every meal. It is so important. It's going to help stabilize your blood sugar levels. So having protein with every meal. And of course, avoiding those simple carbohydrates like processed foods. Fruit juice is a real culprit as well. And keeping those blood sugars stable, as I said, with the protein, and using resistance training as well, because the exercise is an insulin sparing activity. So your body's going to use that extra sugar to create muscle tissue as well and get you through your workouts. So leptin is the next one we're going to talk about. So leptin is the hormone secreted by fat cells to tell you when you're full, right? You've had a big meal and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so full. Now, people who are overweight can have up to 4 times more leptin. So you're not really feeling full all the time. You're constantly kind of feeling hungry, right? And some of the symptoms are constant hunger. Your leptin isn't working at optimized levels. Now, if you feel full after eating the meals you have, your leptin is working. So insulin resistance, as we talked about before, can lead to leptin resistance, not feeling full. And if you have one of the ways you can do is if you have lots of inflammation in your body, you might not be sensitive to leptin either. So looking at more of an anti-inflammatory diet, and some of the culprits that can cause inflammation are gluten, soy, dairy, and sulfites. There's a bunch of them, but there's some great anti-inflammatory diets and programs out there that you can look into. And then making sure one way you can lower those leptin levels is getting enough sleep. This is another thing that's going to be kind of steady throughout the talk too, is sleep. Protein and sleep are very important, right? Making sure we gain those 7 to 9 hours a day of sleep can lower your leptin levels. Ghrelin, our little ghrelin friend here, is the hormone produced in the gut, and it's termed as the hunger hormone. When you have that growling feeling, although he has no mouth, so it doesn't look like he can growl, but that growling feeling, you're hungry, that's what tells our body, hey, time to go get some food, right? And its function is to increase appetite. So some of the symptoms, if your ghrelin is out of whack, is you just don't feel full. You're constantly hungry, right? And in overweight people, studies have shown the ghrelin level is actually a little bit lower. So it doesn't tell your body to stop eating. You just keep eating. You're just hungry all the time. So one of the things we can do, of course, is to avoid sugar, as we talked about before with insulin, right? And make sure we're reading those labels. One thing people need to really look out for is high fructose corn syrup. So when you're looking at a label, check for that on there. And if it has that, put it down, try to get something else. A simple solution, again, as I talked about before, protein with every meal to balance out those blood sugar levels. If you're having a lot of simple sugars for a meal, it's going to spike and crash. You're going to feel tired. You're going to be hungry again, right? Really important to want to balance out those blood sugar levels. And balancing out and protein does balance out your blood sugar, it balances out your insulin, leptin, and ghrelin. So really important, we're having protein with every meal. Now we're going to talk about cortisol, our stress hormone, the one we talked about when we looking at the mindset part of it. And it has a really intricate relationship with the hormone insulin. So when cortisol levels increase, so when you're stressed, a lot of us are experiencing stress this past year, I think, safe to say. But when you're in that fight or flight mode, you're getting chased by a bear, your cortisol levels pick up, right? When you're stressed, your body's producing cortisol. Now that can be a good thing, but if it's excessively releasing cortisol all the time, it actually can be a negative thing, obviously, right? So when the cells in the body can become resistant to insulin if you're constantly pumping out cortisol, and this can lead to an increase in blood sugar, muscle loss, weight gain, right? How we talked about that before. And one of the main reasons when we become estrogen dominant and hormonally imbalanced. So when you're insulin resistant, you're going to have increased inflammation. It's going to elevate your cortisol and elevate your glucose. So again, becomes this vicious circle. So some of the symptoms you might, especially because we're talking more weight gain here, is you have a more heavier midsection, right? If you're really struggling, we have a cortisol belly, it's called. So how you can do that is manage your stress, right? With sleep, meditation, painting, reduce your inflammatory foods. You're seeing that common theme here because your body will react by producing more cortisol. Or if you put yourself on a super restrictive diet and really low calories, your body will produce more cortisol again, right? Because your body goes into fight or flight. Now, also another thing, as we said, eating regular times, balancing out that blood sugar so your body's not stressed, and exercising regularly, common theme here too, and then sleeping helps lower cortisol and helps with weight loss. So as we're seeing protein's a common theme, inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory meals, more a diet, exercising regularly, and sleeping are all seem to be a very common theme here with hormones. So next and last, we're going to talk about estrogen, which is the famous sex hormone in women, and it's made from cholesterol, and it actually helps regulate menstrual cycle. It affects the reproductive tract, urinary tract, heart, blood, vessels, bones, breast, skin, hair, all these things, right? So definitely the major female hormone. Now, with estrogen dominance, when you have an overabundance of estrogen in your body, it can be a hidden weight cause of weight gain. It also moodiness, painful, heavy periods, and irregular periods as well. And 9 causes of hormonal estrogen dominance, the food, we've talked about the food already, right? The processed foods, the carbohydrates, the simple sugars, water as well. Personal care products, making sure we're really looking at the personal care products that we're using. Gut biosis, we want to make sure we're having regular bowel movements. That's another way your body can excrete estrogen out of the body, or get estrogen out of the body, resisting those BPA in plastic bottles. I use a plastic bottle, but it's BPA free. Heavy metals, body fat, the birth control also causes estrogen dominance, and then chronic stress, as we talked about before with cortisol, can cause estrogen dominance. So when we look at estrogen dominance, it gets worsened, and when it gets worsened, there's more weight gain. So then we become more estrogen dominant, and then the midsection, right? We get that midsection, and we have estrogen dominant weight gain there. And then the fatty tissues produce even more estrogen. So you're getting that vicious circle again. So some of the symptoms when we're looking at weight loss, of course, there are obviously other symptoms with estrogen dominance. You have weight gain in the hips, the thighs, the midsection as well. Now with younger girls pre-menopause, it'd be more hips and thighs. That's where we tend to carry it. But when you get into perimenopausal, where I'm at now, and into menopause, it becomes that visceral fat, that midsection fat. Now, this increased fat, as we just saw on the slide before, increases leptin that's produced by the fat cells. So increases that, which makes you not feel full. So again, right, really looking at how we can get these under control. One of the things we can do is increase fiber. So that's going to increase bowel regularity. Daily movement, sweating, sweating is going to be another way to get excess estrogen out of the system. Eating cruciferous vegetables is going to support the liver in detoxification of estrogen, vegetable, broccoli, kale, and then avoiding plastics, water bottles with BPA, chemicals, the phthalates, especially with our makeup and with our hair, looking at not having those, the sulfites, and avoiding the birth control pill as well, if we can. So some of the takeaways from this section, again, I'm going to say it. If you get one thing out of my talk tonight, protein with every meal. I cannot emphasize the importance of that. We're going to be going over in the next section how you can figure out your protein levels. So protein with every meal. Avoid simple and processed carbohydrates. So avoid those high fructose corn syrups. Set eating times. So instead of doing those 6 that we've been told for years, maybe look at doing 3 to balance out your blood sugars. Manage your stress with meditation, painting, and self-care. Manage your sleep, making sure you get those 7 to 8 hours a night of sleep, putting the phones down before you go to bed, having a nice tea to get you ready in that sleep state, not watching television. Eating cruciferous vegetables supports your liver with detox. And then also reducing inflammation as well, right? Looking at more of an anti-inflammatory meal. So no corn, resisting dairy, resisting soy. And then also avoiding the plastics, chemicals, and birth control pill, and having fiber-rich foods, right? Support that gut health. So those are some of the takeaways from this section. Now we're going to move into nutrition. So let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. It's not only it's what we eat. We are what we eat, right? So we really talked about that in the last section, looking at rich fibrous foods, avoiding the simple sugars and the high fructose corn syrups, looking at foods with the more fiber, looking at having good quality protein. All right, so now we're going to have a chance to win prizes. We're gonna take a little break so everybody can do like a little stretch here. Okay, so the first person here, let me make sure, has Jen been able to answer all the chats here? Sorry, yeah, not by, you want to drink more. It depends on the water you're drinking, because some people have chemicals in their water. Sorry about that. That would be it too. And also chemicals in your water. Soy is okay, fermented soy, I think. Okay, I shouldn't answer because otherwise I'll get sidetracked here. Okay, so is everybody ready for the contest? All right, so you will be winning a prize pack from Prairie Naturals, who I work with as well, and also Aeryon Wellness. We've got a nice little prize pack. I've got a nice little water bowl for you, so it's go be brilliant. Okay, so the question is, and the first person to answer it will win the prize. What are macros? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, oh, Naomi got it. Carbs, fats, and protein. Naomi got it. That's awesome. Yay, everybody. Wonderful. Very cool. Well, you're all going to get a prize in the end anyways. So you're going to get the meal planner and everything. So protein, fats, and carbs. Naomi, you got it. So let me see, Naomi, where are you here? Naomi Van Kelly, I believe it is. So Naomi, Jen's going to message you my email address. You can email me and I'll make sure we send that off to you. Okay. Awesome. Okay, that was great. Fun, guys. I love doing little things like that. Keep you on your toes. Okay, so protein, fats, and carbs. And these are the macronutrients. Micronutrients are more your vitamins. Macronutrients is what we're looking at right now. So let's get into the top benefits of protein. We obviously just learned that protein is going to stabilize your blood sugars, right? It's going to help improve fat burning because protein creates more lean muscle tissue. And I find a lot of women throughout the years are always kind of scared with protein. One of my last meals of the day is I make a nice big protein smoothie, to be honest with you. And I find it filling and I feel really good when I go to sleep. And so that protein is important. So stimulates muscle building. Protein burns more than fat. Improves learning and memory as well, promotes a positive mood, important for heart health. It slows down the aging process and improves bone density. So as we said in the last slides, right, hormonal balance, that's one of the big things I want you to take away tonight is the importance of having protein with every meal. So protein is made of chemical building blocks called amino acids, and your body uses the amino acids to repair muscles, bones, to make hormones, and to also make enzymes as well, and of course, balance that blood sugar. And it creates lean muscle tissue and increases metabolism. So if you all get your phones out for a second, you might have to Google this because we deal in pounds up here in Canada. So whatever you believe your weight to be. I don't weigh myself personally. So if you have kind of a rough idea what you think your weight could be, then you can enter that, go to Google, maybe figure out what because I didn't put the math thing in here to figure out what pounds is to kilograms. So if you can Google what, like, let's say if I'm 170 pounds in kilograms. So we're going to find out what we are in kilograms. So if everybody can go and find out what they are in kilograms. So at 170 pounds, I would be 77 kilograms. So we want to have a daily intake of 0.8 to 1 grams per kilogram. So 77 for myself, if that's what I'm going to take 77. I work out quite a bit, so I'm probably going to go to 1 to 1.2. I'm going to go a little higher. But if you're somebody who doesn't work out as much, you could do 0.8 is the perfect way to be. So 77 times 1.2. So roughly I should have about 90 grams of protein a day. And I'm going to break those off into my different meals, right? So now we kind of understand how important and what your amount is. So if you're 150 pounds, that means you're about 70 kilograms. You times that 0.8, you're going to have 56 grams of protein a day. And if you're eating 3 times a day, you're going to divide that into those 3 meals. So whether you have a smoothie in the morning, you have some, Greek yogurt in the afternoon, some berries, you have some chicken, fish, or meat at the end of the day, right? Really making sure we're getting that protein to stabilize that blood sugar, which is really important, as we saw before. Some of the quality sources of protein, we have grass-fed chicken and beef. We have wild fish and lentils and eggs and chickpeas. Spirulina is really high in protein. So is chlorella. We got tofu and whey. I'm a big whey fan. And vegan proteins as well, with rice and hemp. And there's so many good vegan proteins on the market today. I'm going to talk quickly about one product I really love, Lean Whey. This is a Canadian company. That's one of the reasons I really love Prairie Naturals. They're out here in BC, but Canadian, family owned as well. It's New Zealand whey. So New Zealand doesn't use all the different hormones, which we talked about before. That's one of the things we want to make sure we're avoiding to help with estrogen, to avoid estrogen dominance, right? So it's tested, it's free of BSA and RBGH, the bovine growth hormone as well. And it is happy cows, happy whey, because they're grass fed. It's the idea behind it too. So it's high protein and low carbohydrate. It has digestive enzymes in there. I use it to make protein balls and everything. And if you can see it, it smells fantastic. There's no synthetic there's no synthetic sweeteners. Now, if you are somebody who is wondering, how do you do this? Very simple. I got a shaker cup here. I literally just take my almond milk. If somebody hasn't made a smoothie before, it is honestly the simplest thing in the world. You could take this to work with you, have your almond milk, and then bring some berries or have an apple. So you're getting a little bit of that carbohydrates that we were talking about, but then you're also making sure you're getting good, high quality protein. And this is going to give you, the 2 scoops, is going to give me, what am I looking here? 24 grams of protein. That's right there. 24 grams of protein. And so if I'm supposed to have 50 grams of protein, then I could have my next maybe with a little bit with a snack, and then or you could do 1 scoop, right? And have just half the amount. And you just shake it up like that. And it's just so simple. And as I said, this is something I usually have before I go to bed as well. So, and look at that, nice and simple, right? Blends really nicely. There's no chunkies in there too. So that's one thing I really love is the Lean Whey. And I also make little protein balls with these too. Okay, next. Vegan protein. Rice protein is another one. Healthy Planet does carry both of these. It's made from organic, raw, sprouted brown rice. It's a complete protein with all the amino acids. It's hypoallergenic, does have more of a gritty consistency. If you're somebody who has had vegan protein before, you'd be very familiar with this. It makes really good smoothies as well as protein balls. There's tons of recipes out there with protein balls, and it's gluten-free and 100% vegan. So this is a really good option for you as well. So now we're going to look at fats. So fats, of course, help balance out our hormones. It's helps with heart health. It regulates our body temperature. It helps our body absorb the vitamins A, D, E, and K. It's good for brain support, joint support, stabilizes blood sugar as well, detoxifies the body, and omega-3s are also anti-inflammatory. So those fish oils are also anti-inflammatory. And some of the sources we can look at is nuts and seeds and avocado. Olive oil and coconut oil actually regulates the body's response to insulin as well. So it helps balance out those blood sugars. Fish oil, flax oil, grass-fed ghee and butter and cheese. Right? These are all good, healthy sources of fats. I'm a big, I love nuts and seeds. I have to actually regulate myself though, because if I get a big bag, I'll literally eat the whole bag. So I have to divide things off sometimes. That's part of the things I have to do. So benefits of carbohydrates. Now we're going to look at carbs. So carbs give you energy, and carbs have been really villainized. And that's what I found. And I had a really unhealthy relationship with carbs for so many years. I tend to go on a little bit lower carb scale myself. I try to do about 100, 150 grams of carbs a day. I don't count it, but I still find I operate a little better with the lower carbs. It gives you fiber. It helps with sleep. It uplifts your mood. It improves your digestive tract, of course, with the fiber, provides vitamins and micronutrients. And good sources of healthy carbohydrates, banana, berry, orange, got all those fruits, right? And a lot of people don't understand fruits are carbohydrates. So we have to look at that when we're looking at having our carbs every day. Having fibrous vegetables, right? We want to make sure we're having those cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli and asparagus and cabbage. We also got to get cauliflower in there. I love spaghetti squash. I love yams, all those good, really starchy vegetables. And then grains. You've got Ezekiel bread, chickpeas, all those wonderful carbohydrates that we really want to incorporate into our diet, which is different than, of course, those simple carbohydrates we were talking about earlier, those high fructose corn syrup carbohydrates. We want to have these natural, healthy carbohydrates that can help balance out our blood sugar. Next, fermented foods, so gut support. 80% of our immune system is in our gut. So it's really important we take care of our guts. Now, not only from a hormonal standpoint, when we looked at obviously having high fiber so we can help with estrogen, getting estrogen out of our body, or detoxifying with estrogen out of our body, with bowel movements, but 80% of our immune system's in our gut. So it's really important to take care of our gut health. So if you find you have gas, bloating, constipation, there's things you can also add to your diet like kefir, tempeh, and sauerkraut, apple cider vinegar. I love apple cider vinegar. Probiotics are another thing. And poor gut health, right? And we looked at that before, increases the risks of estrogen-related diseases such as estrogen dominance, PCOS, endometriosis, and even breast cancer. Another thing you can look at is having a digestive enzyme. Enzyme Force from Prairie Naturals is an awesome one. And if you're somebody who has, who's maybe on a ketogenic diet, you would definitely want to make sure you're having a digestive enzyme with ox bile in it, such as Bile Force. And they also have a keto enzyme as well. Or if you've had your gallbladder removed, you want to make sure you're on a ox bile enzyme. And I would suggest the Bile Force enzyme from Prairie Naturals is phenomenal. Now we're going to get into superfoods. I am a huge greens fan. I've always been a greens fan. It's one of the things I've had for many, many, many years, is always making sure I have my greens, have my superfoods. These are nutrient dense foods, right? You got large doses of antioxidants in there, and polyphenols, those rich colors. You got your vitamins and minerals, things like goji and turmeric. I'm sure a lot of us have cooked with turmeric, kale and spirulina and chlorella, moringa. It reduces the risk of disease, promotes healthy, good gut bacteria, energizes and boosts I find I have one about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, helps with my energy throughout the day, reduces inflammation, right? We talked about having anti-inflammatory foods in our body, prevents fat oxidation, helps your eye health, and slows down aging. So it really is, there's a plethora of things that superfoods do for us. And one of the things I'm going to just kind of share with you tonight is Prairie Naturals has a new superfoods that just hit the market. It's organic and fermented. There are not many organic and fermented superfoods on the market today. And so fermentation actually reduces the sugar content, improves the mineral, vitamin, and antioxidant bioaccessibility. So they've got the fermented organic superfoods with alfalfa, kale, wheatgrass, oatgrass, barley grass, got maca, turmeric, and beet in there. And I don't know if you can see that green color, but smells good too, and it tastes actually good. That's the other thing as well. These are all the ingredients in this, right? So you got mushrooms, and also mushrooms too. So you've got the king trumpet, you've got the turkey tail, the cordyceps, you've got the spirulina, you've got all these different ingredients here. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make for 2 seconds. So I'm going to put in my trusty shaker cup, and I literally do 1 scoop, and there's over 20 servings in here. And where's my lid? It mixes up really easily, and it tastes really good. It's a light blueberry taste. And it tastes fantastic, like absolutely fantastic. So you can also add this to your smoothie if you wanted to. Now it makes it green, so I'm not sure if you like a green smoothie, but you can add to your smoothie in the morning. So I'm just going to go over a couple of the ingredients in here and the importance of these ingredients. So you have kale. Kale is the most nutrient-dense ingredient on the planet. It's a powerful antioxidant. It's an excellent source of vitamin C, A, K, B6, and more. Helps with blood clotting, also helps with your eye health as well. We've got wheatgrass in there that reduces cravings, eliminates toxins, boosts metabolism, boosts the immune system. Then we got turmeric, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It fights inflammation, right? We talked about the importance of anti-inflammatory ingredients or food in our diet. It reduces depression, it helps with arthritis, is a natural detoxifier. And then some of the mushrooms, I didn't go over all of it because it's a lot of slides. The reishi mushrooms helps with sleep, anxiety, and depression. The lion's mane helps with cognitive function, memory, and concentration. And the turkey tail helps the immune support, antioxidants, and the cordyceps help with energy recovery and with athletic recovery. Sorry, those words are backwards. Then we've added chlorella. So the chlorella has 16 vitamins and 8 minerals, 19 amino acids. So you've got those. It's a essential. It's a complete protein as well. 9 essential amino acids in there. It's got that deep, rich, dark green. Those nice, rich polyphenols in there. You got omega-3 and omega-6 in there, and it carries heavy metals out of the body. And then, of course, you've got spirulina too. So it's really packed full of all these incredible ingredients. And I love the taste. A lot of these green products sometimes can kind of put you off a little bit because they're really greeny. This one tastes fantastic. They've done a fantastic job on this. And I really look at a whey and a greens because these are two things that are really instrumental in my day-to-day as more of a food. These aren't supplements, these are foods for me. So Prairie Naturals, as I said, Canadian company out here in Vancouver, but they have all this different lineups. So if you are looking for individual greens, they do have those too, and they're all available at Healthy Planet. So another thing we need to look at, obviously, if we're going to be winning at weight loss, is looking at our exercise. So one of the things I like to look at, because I think a lot of the time, and I know I get caught up on this, like I feel like I have to be in the gym to get a workout, like but I began to look at what different things can I do with my daughter. We go for walks now, we run the dogs, we do different things. It doesn't have to necessarily be in the gym. And especially with the gyms being closed, I really struggled with working out at home. Like, I don't know if anybody else found this, but the first little bit, we're like, yeah, baking banana bread and working out all the time. We're like, I'm gonna get in the best shape of my life during this whole pandemic lockdown thing. And now I barely look at my spin bike in the corner. So it got a little more challenging for me to do that. So one of the things I began doing, of course, is incorporating more exercises with my daughter, working out with her. But what I did was I started breaking it up. I started doing more 10-minute spots a day instead of doing like a 30-minute workout, because I just couldn't, to be quite honest with you. I found if I did 10-minute increments, it was a lot easier, right? In between Zoom calls, if you're working from home. But what I'd like everybody to do is just take a second and kind of get kind of in your body and feel your body. And if you can, even if you have the space, if you reach up over your head and just simply pull down, like clench your fists together and pull down and flex your back, right? Pull your back down. You can do this simple exercise, and you don't need weights, right? You can do like 10 of these. You can do 30 of them a day. And you're moving your body. Movement doesn't necessarily have to be you're jumping all over the place, right? One of the things I did, and I would do if I was not on my call and you couldn't see me, is you can easily, if you're on a Zoom call, push your chair forward, push-ups off the chair, right? You can do 20 of these in a Zoom call if you really wanted to. You can break it up during the day. So you're actually doing some movement. You're actually moving your body. And I think that's what we need to kind of get away from, is the idea that we have to be excessively exercising in order to lose weight. It's a matter of moving our body every day. One of the things you're going to be getting tonight with this, for attending tonight, is you get the Lose the Excuses program. There's 2 full meal planners, vegan and non-vegan. I also have a whole bunch of mindful eating strategies that are in this program too. And then you're also going to be getting this at-home workout. So you have to really move in the way that it works for you. So toe touches, you might not be able to kick your toe touches up, right? But you can reach down as far as you can reach down. Squats might just be like sitting down in a chair and getting back up. But the idea is really moving your body and celebrating. And it's my way I kind of think of thanking the universe for my body, is moving it every day in a certain capacity. And we do know if we want to have weight loss, we have to move our body. It's also going to help, as we saw before, with hormones too, balancing our hormones out. So when we kind of summarize what we've talked about so far, adequate protein, right? Protein, get your protein in. Stress management, right? Getting those cortisol levels down, having your micronutrients, have some sort of good greens that you can take on a day-to-day basis to help support your body. Having probiotic rich foods, take care of your gut health. Quality sleep, making sure you're getting those 7 to 9 hours a day. That's going to help with your leptin. It's going to help with cortisol. Consuming healthy fats. Limiting those processed foods that we were talking about before, those high fructose corn syrup foods. Those foods are going to spike your insulin. Moving your body in some capacity every day, and consuming enough fiber, of course, to also support your gut health. And now we're going to get into supplementation. I saved supplementation for last. So these are 2 products that my formulator and I work together on, and I love these products together. I mean, I think that one of the things when I talk about supplements, when I talk about weight loss support products, it is so important that we're using all these other tools first, because supplements are there to supplement you. There is no magic pill, right? And these are not a magic pill, but they're able to support you if you're looking for something to give you that added support. So with Water Be Gone, when we're losing body fat, our fat cells are full. And as we lose body fat, the cells start to empty and they're replaced with water. So what Water Be Gone does, it makes that process just a little bit faster of moving that water out of the cells. So if you are also somebody who has bloating or you're sodium sensitive, like I am, I keep Water Be Gone on my counter. And if I have a salty meal, I'll have one before I go to bed because I can really struggle with inflammation and sodium water retention. So if you're puffy, you have stiff joints, it also helps with the weight fluctuations. If you do find you're carrying a lot of water weight, if you're somebody who PMS, I use this product PMS wise, the 5 days before my cycle. Women can gain 5 to 8 pounds of water weight. So using it then too really helps. So some of the ingredients we've used in this product, we've used black cohosh to help with PMS symptoms. It also helps with menopausal symptoms, hot flashes, mood swings. This also helps, they use it for prostate support with men with prostate cancer. So they're using it as a prevention and treatment. For prevention treatment, sorry. Then we've got a dandelion, which acts as a diuretic and reduces water retention. It promotes healthy liver and also can help in weight loss by improving carbohydrate metabolism and reducing fat absorption. We've got a juniper berry. There's a 4-to-1 extract of juniper berry in here. It's a clinical dose of juniper berry for somebody who struggles with UTIs. This is also something you could be taking. Now, if you are of a severe UTI, also go see your doctor, of course. But if you're somebody who kind of feels that beginning to come on, this is something you could take for UTIs. It's going to support your kidney health and flush out toxins and also helps regulate your monthly flow. And then we've added milk thistle. So milk thistle works with NAC. So NAC is a precursor to glutathione, which is an antioxidant. It's a powerful antioxidant and helps regenerate your liver and also helps support with weight loss too. And then lastly in this one, so nice simple formula, magnesium citrate to help with muscle cramping, right? Reduces PMS, reduces bloating and water retention. So this one's a very simple formula. I don't use it month in, a month in, a month in, but I definitely use it for a longer period, a little bit longer period of time. So I use it for a couple of weeks or if not a month. So it's PMS water weight. It has hormonal balancing formula in there. It helps really nicely for a to kickstart weight loss. And the reason I say that is because I think sometimes we could be doing everything, but then we want to see that scale move a little bit to kind of keep us motivated and keep us moving. And this product can help with that. There's liver support, UTI support. It's non-GMO. And of course it's vegan as well. And then I'm going to talk about Lose It. So the program you're getting tonight is the Lose It Excuses program with every Aeryon Wellness product in the next several months rolling out. All of them have QR codes on the front. So you'll be able to scan those with a video that talks about the product. You'll be getting support of different tips and strategies as well. And this is Lose It. This is one of the first ones to have that QR code on the front. So we talked about hormonal imbalances. And so one of the different things about Lose It, it really actually works more for women. It does have hormonal balancing ingredients in it. So it helps those who have a weight loss plateau, hormonal imbalance, weight around the midsection, like we talked about that, right? That estrogenic weight gain, low energy and slow metabolism. In this product, it's very unique. We have Indo-3 carbinol. So Indo-3 carbinol is what's found in broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, all those different ingredients we talked about before when we were looking at estrogen dominance, right? So it's going to help to support the liver to detoxify estrogen and balances out your estrogen naturally in your system. Then we've added red pepper extract, and studies have shown that people who consume red pepper feel increased feelings of fullness. So it acts more as an appetite suppressant and metabolism booster. It increases the heat in your body, so it increases the amount of calories burned. There's a dose of caffeine in here too. We have, I think it's 75 milligrams of caffeine in here. Sorry, I should know that off by heart. And in that, that's going to help signal the nervous systems to break down the fat cells. We only have a cup and a half of coffee per pill. So we've kept the caffeine really low. There's no jitters in this product, right? But it contains a cholinolic acid that helps slow down the absorption of carbohydrates. Then L-carnitine, which is an important amino acid, which helps with muscle recovery and also boosts the metabolism and burns fat. And then green tea. So the green tea in here has no caffeine. We've reduced and taken out all the caffeine from the green tea, but we've kept the benefits of having the theanine in there that reduces the level of cortisol that's released in your body, right? So we want to keep those cortisol levels low so then your body's responding properly and hormonally you're able to move through and lose weight properly. And olive leaf. So olive leaf improves insulin sensitivity and your pancreatic response and helps your body, helps support weight loss and reduce appetite. And then lastly, we have B12, which helps convert energy into the food that we eat, right? Sorry, helps provide energy by converting the food we eat into sugar. Also helps support the adrenal glands, which is where your cortisol is released and boost metabolism. So all in all, this increases energy. I use it as a pre-workout in the morning time. I take one before I go to the gym, and sometimes I take one in the afternoon, but I find it really, I have a fantastic workout on it. It's an exercise enhancer, helps with hormonal balance, helps with recovery as well. It's fat loss support, and it's low stimulant, and it helps decrease appetite. So how I do these two together, and the reason I stack them together is 1 and 1 in the morning, 1 and 1 in the afternoon. You can do up to 3 a day. I only recommend people do 2 to start and see where your body moves from that. But what it's going to do, it's going to help with appetite. It's also going to help get your estrogenic weight gain. And then this is going to help flush that excess water out of your system. So we're having fantastic results of people taking 1 and 1 morning and afternoon. With this, and you guys are getting this today, the Lose the Excuses program. This is some of the examples behind it. You've got meal planners in there. You've got full recipes, nutritional breakdown. We've also put the Lose the Excuses daily movement. And then we also have, there's 2 pages of the mindful eating strategies as well. So you'll all be getting emailed this program afterwards. So now some extra tips that I want to throw in there, because there's lots more. So first off, we are what we eat. Right? So we talked about that before. We talked about let medicine be thy food, or food will be your medicine. And I think when we begin to look at weight loss, a lot of the time we start restricting, and when we hyper restrict ourselves, that's what we end up falling off the wagon over and over again. So if we can step into a better space with not only mentally thinking about how we can be successful and how we are powerful, we also need to look at food in a different context where 80% of the time, and this is something I've used for myself and most of my clients throughout the years, 80% of the time, eat really well, eat healthy, choose those rich fibers foods, make sure you're getting those protein, and 20%, whether it be 20% every day or 20% once a week, you can have things like have a piece of cake, enjoy yourself, because the minute you start restricting is the minute I think we end up falling off. For myself, Monday to Friday, I tend to be in I'm on the road, I'm working, so I pack my meals, I have my stuff with me. And so it's easier for me to do Monday to Friday, right? And then on the weekends, I like to have a, gin and soda, or I want to have a vodka soda. I want to have something that I want to have a piece of cake. I want to have some popcorn. I want to go out for a dinner. I allow myself that, right? I don't abide in a restrictive zone anymore, because then it will become more sustainable. It becomes more of a lifestyle by living by that 80-20 rule. Next, water. We need to drink lots of water. As I'd said in the slides before, right? It flushes out toxins and excess hormones, 8 to 10 glasses a day. It helps with your skin as well. I know when I don't drink a lot of water, I can see it in my skin. And you can use natural flavoring, some of those little squeezy things if you like, or lemon water. On my water bottle, what I do is I have an elastic band, right here. And I usually have 3 of them. I try to drink 3 of these a day. When I finish my final one, I put it on my wrist, or I put it in my hair, right? Wherever it may be. So it's a great way of keeping track of how much water you need to be drinking. So if you have 3 bands on here, you haven't drank your amount of water that you need to drink throughout the day. So just a little tip that I found has worked for me. Reducing sugar, we talked about that, right? Because that causes glucose to spike and fall. We're increasing the chances of having insulin resistance. It also increases aging, decreases our immunity as well. And so sugar alternatives, you can look at sweet monk, stevia, xylitol. I cook with all of these. I don't really notice the difference, so I have no problem with those ones. But finding a sugar substitute, that natural sugar substitute that works for you, is a good idea. And then looking at being mindful when we're eating. I can't tell you how many times, and still to this day, I've catch myself sometimes where you finish a meal and you're sitting there like, did I even eat that? Like in your car, driving, doing stuff. So really stopping and getting present with what you're eating. Maybe saying a grateful, thank you so much for this food I'm about to eat. Doesn't necessarily have to be a prayer. We're really connecting to the fact we're eating, pausing for a second, right? How does it taste? How does it smell? Becoming aware of why we're eating and landing in our body a little more. I also use a technique called flexible fasting, which is there's no timed limit. I just let myself get hungry. That's what I do. I let my ghrelin kick in. I let myself feel that hunger. Like, okay, I'm hungry now. I'm going to honor that and eat. I don't do any timed fasting of any sorts. So it's not that, but it's really learning to land in my body and pay attention. Like, oh, I'm kind of hungry right now. Right? Instead of just mindlessly eating, standing at the fridge. So really paying attention to my hunger cues. Next, we need to be patient and compassionate. With weight loss, it's always fascinating because everybody, I remember being in stores at times and people coming in, but I need to lose 10 pounds by Friday. And it's like Monday. And I'm like, What? Right? So we want change yesterday. We have this impatience when it comes to our body. I don't think we'd ever want to go to a doctor who got his degree in 48 hours, right? It takes time. The same amount that it's taken time to gain the weight, it's going to take a little time to lose the weight again. And to also to understand that it's okay. We have to be compassionate and patient with ourselves, right? So as long as we're doing these daily changes, we're having protein with every meal, rich fibrous foods, moving our body, drinking our water, right? Really connecting to our thoughts as well, then we'll be able to have this lasting steps. So some of the takeaway lessons here tonight. First off, mindful with our thoughts, catching ourselves when we're having those negative thoughts and those negative stories that we have about ourselves, and learning to shift it, because that alone can also help with cortisol levels in our body, right? It can create more serotonin in our body. So really paying attention to that. That's so important to any journey of any kind. Pay attention to your stress and your hormonal imbalance, making sure protein, as we talked about, getting enough sleep, getting those rich fibrous foods, creating winning food choices. Trying not to get those high fructose corn syrup foods, trying not to have those simple carbohydrates, really making sure we're taking good care and honoring our body, this one vessel we get to work with in this lifetime. Moving our body for a minimum 30 minutes a day. It can be a walk. As I said, you can break it into 10 minutes. You can do stuff with your kids. Supplement when needed. So I mean, as much as I love supplements, because I have a supplement company, you should really do the other things first. Move your body, eat well, pay attention to your thoughts. Supplements are supplements. Make sure you're drinking your water, lots of it, reducing your sugar, mindful eating, pay attention to when you're eating, be kind to yourself, and use the plan to kickstart. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't also have a plan in place when I really started working through everything, right? I had a plan in place of what I was going to be having on a day-to-day basis, and I had some structure, and that structure helped me then come to a point now where I'm a lot more relaxed within my eating plan. And really the idea too, as I want to end this off, is what do you want your story to be, right? This is our one chance to live this life. And what do you want to be in this life? Where do you want to be in a year from now? Where do you want to be in 5 years from now? Where do you want your health and wellness to be? I look at the picture on the left, and yes, I was happy, but at the same time, I was really struggling with my relationship with food and my body. And I made a very conscious choice to change my story. And if I hadn't changed my story, the example my daughter would see would be very different. And I know I wouldn't have the company or be here today. So really paying attention and really looking at how do you want to change your story, because there's only one of you. You are magical, you are divine, you are here for a reason. And I really want to remind you of that. And so taking some of these tools and strategies tonight and applying them to your life to create that long-lasting change where you can step into living your best life. So tonight, one of the things you are going to be getting all that meal planner stuff that will be sent to you after this. We do have some coupons. We have $7 off the 2 Aeryon Wellness products, plus $5 off the superfoods and the lean whey. So those can be used. They'll be sending you those afterwards, after the talk. You'll be getting an email from Healthy Planet. So just a little recap, Aeryon Wellness is a female-founded and Canadian company, 100% owned by me. And with a purchase of every Aeryon Wellness products, a percentage is donated to the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter here in Vancouver. I really appreciate these grassroots organizations working with women, helping them out to whatever situation that they're in. And we, as I said, again, we are proudly Canadian. So we have 6 SKUs that are all sold with Healthy Planet. We have Reclaim Hormonal Daily Support, Restore Stress Support, Snooze Sleep Support, Reset Hormonal Detox, Water Be Gone, and Lose It, which are the 2 we talked about today. And if you'd like to follow me or stalk me, I like stalkers. I'm on Instagram at Aeryon Ashlie. You can follow me over there. And of course, as well, we have Aeryon Wellness too. So I'd appreciate a follow on both of those. And last but not least, do we have any questions? So I'm going to open up my chat thing. I'm sure Jen was doing a great job of answering them. Jen is fantastic. So thank you, Jen, for sitting here and answering all the questions as we went. Yes, I am 100% Canadian. So if anybody has any other questions, I can answer those. I'm sure Jen has done a fantastic job though. Thank you so much. Yes, it is. I use my, what's it called? What's that water thing? I use that all the time. So menopausal issues. I'm using my Reclaim product. I'm perimenopausal and I use Reclaim right now. So scoop of superfoods, 1 scoop is all you need for that. A green tea or maca tea you recommend? Trying to think. I don't know if I do have one off the top of my head. If you're taking prescription medication, please consult your doctor first. I want to make sure you consult your doctor. And if you have a thyroidectomy, I would also talk to your doctor as well. It's beyond my scope to recommend if you have had, and even if you're taking high blood pressure medication. So if you're on any sort of medication, please consult your doctor first, just so I make sure. No, I mix the superfoods with water. So just with water alone. That's all I mixed it with. Can you recommend it all the time? Hypothyroidism. You could do veggie greens. I'm pretty sure you could probably do veggie greens. Sorry, not veggie greens. Sorry, superfoods, greens. Oh, thank you. I hope so. I hope you're all able to get something from this. You are going to be receiving the meal plans. Yes. The green supplement is Superfoods by Prairie Naturals. I like psyllium husk, but there's also, if you need low FODMAP, there's Acadia gum, there's a bunch of different things, but psyllium husk works really well too. At least it's worked well for me. So you've been doing all the things. So one of the things you could look at is, are you tracking? You can look at what your carbohydrates are as well. I find if I go really too high on the carb scale for myself, my body wouldn't budge as much. We're all so different. So I want to make sure I emphasize this. One of the things you can try is maybe lowering your carb scale a little bit and upping your protein a little bit, still making sure you're getting at least 100 grams of protein a day. I find with women, when I've worked with them, I say they always have about 100 grams a day. It's kind of that sweet spot for weight loss. That's what I found. Can you read the question, please? I didn't see the question. In the superfoods, is there stevia? Yes, there is stevia. Well, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, you're going to want to be doing an anti-inflammatory diet for sure, right? I definitely would look at that as well. Taking fish oils would be a good thing to help with inflammation too. What's a more gentle psyllium? Okay, so what I would probably do is Acadia gum. There's some good, and there's chia seed powder in some of the products you can get. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know I am working on a powder formula as well that's going to be coming out in the next year. So if you stay tuned, hopefully I'll have it by then. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I think that's the thing too. We have to really, we have to have patience sometimes, right? And yeah, I think that's one of the big things, but I really appreciate that. I love people are talking PCOS and weight loss. Well, see, so PCOS, the thing with PCOS, one of the things that we find is that everybody is so different. I've worked with different women throughout the years who have PCOS, and some of them respond really well to things, and some of them don't respond well to the exact same thing, right? Like some people can take the indole-3-carbinol and some people can't. So I think if you're working with a naturopath, that's probably who I would look and work with, somebody who can really help direct you towards the right path, to be honest with you, because I don't know everything about what's going on with you health-wise. So that would be the one thing. Thank you. Is warm water better than cold? I think as long as you're drinking water. That's one of my things. As long as you're drinking water. If I find I have sensitive teeth, so mine tend to be a little warmer. But they do, I think, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the studies on that, to be honest with you. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I appreciate that. As long as that soy is fermented soy, you want to make sure it's fermented. You take the enzyme after with rheumatoid arthritis. Well, you probably could still do, the higher proteins, I would do that, making sure you're having rich fibrous foods, making sure you're having, with rheumatoid arthritis, you want to probably avoid the nightshade vegetables, right? So avoiding the tomatoes, avoiding those kind of things. The products, sorry, I'm trying to read the questions here. They're going fast. Lose it contains cabbage, but yeah. I can't eat these vegetables. That's a good question, actually. I might have to look into that. Janice, let me see. If you email, I don't know, see my name, you can email at aeryon@aeronwellness.com, and I can look into that for you. So it's just AERYON@aeronwellness.com, and ask me the question. For high blood pressure recommendation. High blood pressure, hold on here, sorry, 1 second. Is it gluten-free? Yes, it is gluten-free. My goodness, so many questions. Fibroids. I would probably go see, a medical doctor before taking anything. Yes, I would. you probably want to see a medical doctor, especially for hypothyroid. I'd probably look at talking to your doctor as well if you have high blood pressure as to what they're saying, what you should be taking. Either way, you want to make sure you're having your protein, you're having your good fibrous vegetables, you're not having too much high simple carbohydrates. The enzyme you recommend, okay, so that's called Enzyme Force, or it's keto enzyme. It's the same product, but Enzyme Force. Bile Force. Is Jen on here? Jen, where's Jen? Is Jen on here? Let me see where Jen is. It's Bile Force, yes.
I'm here, but there's a lot of questions.
I know, I'm trying to trying to catch them.
I know. So for any kind of gallbladder or fatty digestive issues, then it would be Bile Force or keto enzyme.
Yes. Protein powder for lactose intolerant. Yes, you could do the brown rice protein that I talked about, any sort of vegan protein. You also, depending on how badly lactose intolerant you are, you could do an isolate, right? They've taken the lactose out of the protein, but it just depends on how your body responds to lactose. If you have fatty liver, can I use this? I would probably talk to your doctor as well, just to make sure. Thank you so much. Mild inflamed thyroid. Jen, do you have suggestions for mild inflamed thyroid? I'm trying to think about that one. Superfoods as well. Yes, I do. I take both of them. I take the protein and I also take I take them both. These are two foods. I call them foods. I don't really look at these as supplements. These are always on my go-to. I always have this and I always have this. I would love to do more sessions. Yes. So I will definitely connect with Healthy Planet and hopefully I can be back. Oh, thank you, Maureen. I'm so happy you're using them. Yay. Jen, did you have that? Did you have the answer for the thyroid? I'm trying to think for thyroid. I'm just trying to
we would look at things to reduce inflammation. So turmeric, digestive enzymes, reducing your high inflammation foods. So going back to your solutions page, dairy and soy and fermented foods will help with reducing inflammations.
That's what I thought. Sorry. Can we switch bodies?
Yes.
Fortunately, I haven't figured out that supplement yet. All right. Okay. So I think we are. If anybody does have questions, they can feel free to message me. I'm on social media, as I said, so please feel free to follow me. But these are the 6 products. And I just want to thank you all so much. Improve liver health. With liver health, we have one of the things you could probably do. Water Be Gone would probably help support you a little bit with your liver, but not as much. Reset would help with liver detox as well. It's more of a hormonal detox, but that would help with liver. Thank you so much. Kidney health.
I think it's important that if there's secondary health issues, that a healthcare practitioner is visited and discussed with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to tell you guys anything and then have something not work out or have you injure yourself. That would not be anything I would want to do. Better sleep. Well, I have snooze, but making sure, of course, you shut off those phones, you turn off that television, right? So thank you so much, everybody, for attending. We're we're past our hour, so we might get cut off here, but I want to thank you all so much for attending and taking your time with me tonight. I really, really, really appreciate it. If you get a little message from Healthy Planet, let them know how much you loved it. And hopefully I can come back and visit with you all very soon with another topic. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, thank you. All right. So I guess stop recording. There we go. Okay. After stopping, you receive an email. Okay, perfect. Okay, and we can end meeting. All right, there we go. I'm ending the meeting. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful Tuesday.